Hello everyone, my name is Aaron. Today I will be going over how to build muscle in a concise manner. Right? So, how is muscle built? Muscle is built when we progressively overload a muscle and give it nutrients so that it can grow. What is progressive overload? Progressive overload means doing an exercise but making it harder in some way each time we do it. And well, why do we need to do this? Why do we need to do this to make the muscle grow? We have to do this because muscle is very expensive for your body to maintain. Your body has to work very hard, use a lot of resources to make muscle and maintain it. So it doesn't want to do that. It wants to get away with the least amount of muscle possible. Well, that means we have to work very hard to put on muscle and to maintain it. And it also means that we have to work harder each time in order for the body to go, well, I guess I need to build more muscle. You have to make the body bend to your will by putting it in uncomfortable situations that it's forced to adapt to. That's how you build muscle. Eating nutrition is a weird place to start, but it's an easy place to start because it's simple, right? For your muscles to grow, you need 0.7 grams of protein a day per pound of body weight you have. You can go all the way up to 1 gram of protein a day per pound of weight. If you have very high body fat, just use 1 gram per centimeter of height. Now, both of these generalizations, they're very broad guidelines, but you don't need very specific numbers. Just these generalizations are good enough. Just hit your daily protein target and don't worry too much else about nutrition. Because at the end of the day, everything else doesn't go into building muscle directly. It goes into your general health, like your calorie intakes, what vitamins you eat, everything else. That goes into your general health, not your muscles directly. So the only really important part is getting that protein. Alright, well, let's talk about exercises now. A rep is 1 repetition of an exercise. So for example, 1 push-up is a rep. A set is a grouping of repetitions. So a set, for example, could be 5 reps, or 10 reps, or 20 reps. Any grouping of reps together with no break in between, with no like meaningful break in between. So I'm just doing 1 push-up after another, 1 push-up after another, then I take a break. That's the set. So how should we go about doing exercises? As in, how hard should I work in these sets? Now I know what a set is, I know what a rep is. How many reps should I be doing? These are all things that we're going to cover. Okay? Let's start with which exercises to do. Ultimately, it doesn't really matter. It's up to you. Do exercises that you feel comfortable with and you're not going to injure yourself on. That's really all that matters. You can use machines, you can use compound movements, you can use small exercises using free weights. They're all great. They all work. Some maybe work better than others. But ultimately, if you put in the work in, it doesn't matter which ones you do. Caveat, you do not want to get injured. Getting injured is really horrible. Well, we know we can do any exercise we want. How hard should I work in each set? You know? Well, blanket advice is to take your sets around 2 to 3 reps away from failure. And, okay, what's failure? Failure is when you can't complete a rep with solid form no matter how hard you try. You have a gun to your head, and then we're going to pull the trigger. If you didn't finish that rep, you couldn't get it up. And if that's the case, then my friend, you have reached failure. The goal is to hit 2 to 3 reps away from failure. And the thing is, with most people, they don't work hard enough in the gym, right? They go in there, they don't work really hard, they don't push themselves to the limit. What you want to do is you want to work out when you're starting off. You don't have to go crazy in order to see gains. But as you work out, you want to practice hitting your own personal limit. You want to know where it is so that you can go, okay, that's my limit. Let's take it a little bit less than that. I'll do a little bit less than my limit. And that's where you want to be, 2 to 3 reps away from your full limit. Alright, so now we know how hard we should work and which exercises to do. How many sets should I be working? Like, how often should I go to the gym? That's a great question. Right, so let's build up what a set should be to begin with. Right, a set, as I mentioned, is a grouping of repetitions of an exercise. So how big should a set be? 6 to 12 reps is the general recommendation. Why? Because if you go any lower, you're focused more on strength than anything else, and you also have a higher risk of injury. And even higher rep counts, well, you risk being too tired from other factors like your uric acid buildup in your muscles being the problem and not the weight itself. And general fatigue also sets in as you get to higher and higher numbers. So generally you want to hit 6 to 12 reps each set. It should be noted that at the end of the day, you can go any number of reps and you will still build muscle. Why? Because as long as you're hitting failure or close to failure, you're still going to build that muscle. You're still providing adequate stimulus. But again, 6 to 12 reps is general rule of thumb because it's in the middle between the extremes and it works out well for most people. All right. So now I know what a set is. I know how many I should do. I know which exercises I should do. How many times a week do I train? Well, like everything else here, it's mostly up to you. Volume, or how many times you train, provides diminishing returns. All right. So if you overwork a muscle, you will get less out of it. So we should aim to do 10 to 20 sets of per body part per week. That is the good range to be inside. So that means generally we want to be working that same muscle group 2-3 times a week. Because it's easier to get solid sets in with low risk of injury and plenty of time to recover when you're spreading out that 10 to 20 over a couple days instead of just loading it all on one day. Again, if you hit 10 to 20 solid sets per body part per week, it doesn't matter if you load them all on the first day. You can get away with that. It's just very difficult to get away with that because it's very difficult to do 10 to 20 sets of body part in one day. So it's way easier to just spread it out over a couple days, give your body plenty of time to recover. Assuming you're not on steroids, your body will have a lot of struggles with doing that amount of work in one day. So spread it out. It can be hard to get in the gym that many times a week, I understand, but still, you should really spread it out. Look into full body workouts, if that's a thing. That is a limiting factor, time. That basically is everything that needs to be covered. Let's recap what we learned today. Muscle is built when we train it and we give it a reason to get stronger or bigger. And we also give it nutrients so that it can grow. Muscle needs protein and stimulus. And stimulus is best delivered in 10 to 20 sets per body part per week with 6 to 12 reps in a set, lifting the amount of weight that you can lift as much as you can in 6 to 12 reps, with taking the sets 2 to 3 reps away from failure. And you want to be working harder each time, and you want to do your best every time so that day after day, your body has more and more reason to improve, so it keeps on improving. Otherwise, it stagnates, and no one wants that. So work hard. Work harder every day. That's it. See you guys next time.